Good morning, Payne Tech. Today is Friday, February 28th, and welcome to this episode of Payne Tech News. I'm your host, Merle Fenellis.
And I'm your co-host, Demetra Harris. Attention Lions! On Monday, March 3rd, Payne Tech has organized and will be hosting an International Social and Emotional Learning Day. Students will have the opportunity to enjoy a fun-filled day with the activities you choose, whether it's a nice paint and sip or even making your favorite treat.
Seniors, prom is right around the corner. Get your very own prom dress or prom suit, custom made by Elema Design. They are now accepting appointments, so book ASAP. Call or text the number 862-338-0612. You can also email info@elmadesign.com for more information.
This week marks the end of Black History Month, and us here at Payne Tech News decided to highlight the accomplishments of Malcolm X. Malcolm X was a civil rights leader who fought for black equality in the 1950s and 60s. He was part of the Nation of Islam and believed in black empowerment, sometimes supporting self-defense instead of a peaceful protest. Later, he changed some of his views and wanted people of all races to work together. He was a powerful speaker and inspired many, but he was assassinated in 1965. His legacy still influences people today.
While on the topic of Black history, today's package will indulge us into the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and his accomplishments as a civil rights activist. Sit back and enjoy.
I first think about this non-violent piece. I still think that there's still some form of violence, whether it be in our tone or our attitude. But I think we need to be very systemic in how we address and or attack modern day situations.
I think what we can learn is to get active, get outside, let's be in community with each other, and let's show our presence.
A lot of us could use the philosophy that he held about peacefulness, keeping everything very calm to portray the right and correct message. I think in today's society, it's a lot more, normalized to be more upfront or violent with your views or what you think. But I think Martin Luther King had a really good philosophy with his idea of peace and making sure that everything was nonviolent. We don't want to portray that message that all we care about is, destruction. We just want change, that's all.
I think we should really be thankful for hope. I think we're in a state of time where that's what we're lacking a lot. I feel like because of all these things that are happening, it's easy to feel like, this is never going to change or whatnot. But I feel like if we look at what Dr. King did and what has been done by other people around him, it makes us feel as though hey, if that's how it was back then and this is how it is now, even though things are not perfect, there has been a change and there has been development in our society. And I feel like we can learn hope from that.
I think we owe them a great debt when I think that when I was born, my parents could not vote. They were living on the south side of town and they fought for those rights to be able to move to new communities, which we did, for those voting rights and all the other things that are now available. But we've lost track of that, and we're satisfied with, I believe, simple things instead of continuing to make greater strides. So many people are not willing to risk their lives to go ahead. We'll join a fight for the moment, and then it seems like we'll back off and settle for simple things. So I think we owe them a great debt, and that means to do more with the time that we have.
I mean, if the civil rights movement didn't happen, honestly, we wouldn't be here right now. For instance, I wouldn't be drinking from the same water fountain as certain people. Probably this school probably wouldn't be built. I probably wouldn't even have the right to vote. So honestly, we owe these activists and the civil rights movement itself much credit and respect.
I think we've settled. We've had milestones and we're like, okay, we reached this, so we're good with that, instead of revisiting it. And that would include when you're talking about children having right access to proper housing, education, that I always say to folks, go to the school board meetings, Find out who's teaching your children. Find out what's being taught to your children. Go to the local meetings. Find out what's happening in your communities. Don't just pay attention to the news. Go and hear when decisions are being made and how they're going to affect your life.
I do think, of course, we've made obvious strides towards his I Have a Dream speech. Do I think that we are necessarily like right there? No, not really. We know that there's still work that needs to be done.
I think we are closer, even if things are not perfect. I go to school with people that back then I would have never even been on the same side of the street with or drink water from a water fountain from. And so I look in my classrooms and I see every single ethnic group, every single culture background, race, sexual orientation, and I see so much different, pillars of light and pillars of diversity. And so I feel like we're definitely closer.
I remember that speech as a speech where he says that, our government has been a little bit bankrupt when it comes to the promises that it made, especially to African Americans and other, marginalized communities. Today, are we fulfilling those promises? I think that a lot of it still applies today, especially with our current president in office. I think he would say, hang on a second, there was promises of equality, there was promises of, economic inclusion, and it doesn't seem like that's a priority anymore. So I think that a lot of the issues that King talked about in that speech are still urgent today.
Again, it would have to be our willingness to face our own biases, find out our own and address our own prejudices, and then move forward to attack some of the goals that we've set, and realistic goals. They don't have to be huge goals. They can be minor things that make major changes.
I definitely feel like it's achievable. I feel like if we gotten this far in the whole equality aspect, then why not go farther? I feel like those things were way much worse back then, and things obviously changed. And so if they changed back then, it could always change now.
I would like to be hopeful and say that his vision is achievable. Seeing the world like past history and then current history, it seems like history is just constantly repeating itself and in this cycle of the same things happening over and over again. I don't believe that people have come as far as they think. I think we need to educate our students more in our classrooms, going beyond just Black History Month or knowledge about like Harriet Tubman or Rosa Parks.
I mean, I have to say yes. Really, I feel like you're asking me if I have hope. And I think the thing about hope that's tricky is, hope isn't gonna get delivered to me when I scroll through my phone and look at the headlines. It's not gonna get delivered to me on my front step. When I go out and I act, when I go out and I have conversations and talk to other people and talk about the things we have in common, that's when my hope increases and builds up. So do I think it's possible? Yes. However, only if I get out and take the actions that I feel like I need to take, and the rest of us do the same. I think it's through actions that we earn that kind of hope to say yes.
Attention all seniors. If you have yet to do so, make sure to complete your senior due payments by February 28th, as that is the last day to do so. All dues must be paid to Ms. Goodson. You have until the end of the day today to turn them in. No exceptions.
Attention all Payne Tech seniors. If you would like to reserve a yearbook, now is the time to do so. The price is currently $60, so make sure to purchase it before the price goes up. Also, if you would like to purchase a personalized page, you can contact Ms. Marrero if you have any questions. And finally, the 97th Academy Awards ceremony is taking place this Sunday, March 2nd. Some of the Best Picture nominees this year include Anora, Emilia Perez, Nickel Boyce, The Brutalist, and The Substance. Our digital film teacher, Mr. Perez, thinks that The Substance should win. Tune in to see if your favorite film or director gets a golden statue. And that concludes this episode of Payne Tech News. Once again, I'm your host, Merle Fenellis.
And I'm your co-host, Demetra Harris. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode of Payne Tech News. Go Lions!